So you saw a guy, there was a man that was killed. Tell me, who was that?
Young man named Alejandro Manuel, who's from the Philippines. I remember I got a really heartbreaking letter in that case from his mom, who apparently had no idea, A, that he was gay, B, that he was hustling. But I had others. I had a really heartbreaking one in 1981, a young man named Philip Morris, who was killed in the Bedford-Stuyvesant area of Brooklyn, and he was assaulted. He killed literally because he was gay. But at the time in 1981, they didn't even count that as a bias attack.
It was just somebody was killed. There was another murder, and they didn't look at the motivation in those days.
I mean, the motivation was clear.
Right.
That's what it was. You read the police report, but no one looked at that in terms of hate crimes. There was no such a thing at that
Right.
point.
There was no such thing. Well, they didn't call it hate crimes. They had.
I'll tell you, when I eventually did come out and said I would like to do these gay cases, I think I can bring a little dimension in there that no one else is going to have. One of the reasons I got the job was because we had the AIDS epidemic.
Right.
And there was a noticeable reluctance on my colleagues.
Well, that was in 1983, right? 83, 82.
That's when AIDS was just starting. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So I got, now there's an experience there. I had a case I remember very well. I can't remember the man's name, but we had a call in my office from a man who was bedridden in a cold water flat in Tribeca, and he was an AIDS patient. His home attendant had ripped him off, just taken everything, and just left him there.
Yeah.
So, but no cops from the first precinct would go there to make a report because they were all afraid.
I believe that.
And of course he couldn't go to the police precinct to make it. He had no one, but he called us. I went over there. I took his information, and my dear friend in heaven, Hermano.
So the police wouldn't go into his residence?
They would not go into his residence. It was in Tribeca, so it was.
Well, they were scared.
Yeah, they were scared. Exactly. Nobody.
Do you think they were scared? I mean, I was pretty scared too.
We all were. My God. But I went and I took his information, and I also contacted my dear friend in heaven, Hermano Stingo, who was a super gay activist.
My dear friend in heaven.
Yes.
That's lovely.
There's a person in heaven, it's him. He went and he to the man's house, got all the information, and then he went to the first precinct, and they took the report from him, because we had to have a police report in order to pay anything on it at the Crime Victims Board.
And people are afraid to read police reports.
Yeah, they were afraid, honest to God. And I will never forget the sight of that man. And he was in his last stages. I mean, you could see the carpal lesions all over him.
Did he beat him up at all, or did he just robbed him?
Well, but we had just passed something called, that you could claim essential property.
Right.
If you were disabled or a senior citizen.
Right.
And he was disabled.
Of course.
And that's how he got it. So there was but he was ripped off. Totally ripped off, and left there in this. You can imagine.
So he was able to get benefits through the Crime Victims Board. This is just for the Crime Victims Board. Is this a state agency? It's a California state.
It's a state agency. Yeah.
This came through Governor Rockefeller. The hate crimes.
Rockefeller started the Crime Victims Board.
Okay.
Yeah. Now the state office of
Now, what about the bias crime unit of the crime? Is there a separate
No, there's not.
It's just so.
Of that.
Okay.
But I wished there had been there are times I wished I had an official position there at the Crime Victims Board dealing with it was kind of winked and nodded at.
Well,
and I had to fight for it every so often too.
People were dying.
Well, nobody wanted to take the cases.
People were scared.
So you got a volunteer that'll do it? Yeah,
right.
Gay guy? Why not?
Poor guys.